There has been some new CCTV footage released as part of Foolio's ongoing murder investigation. The suspects have recently been to court and were forced to watch the new footage. You could say things aren't looking good for them. New surveillance footage of Foolio's murder played in court. On the 8th of August, the current suspects in Foolio's murder appeared in court, where brand new footage of the events that transpired on the day he was killed was released for the first time. The judge made the suspects watch the new footage. We know Foolio was at a club that night, and here you see him dressed in a red beanie standing outside a car in the club's parking lot. The club's name was Teasers, and Foolio was there to give a paid performance. Here you can see the suspects, Alicia Andrews, Isaiah Chance, also known as Gutta, and Sean Gathright together in court, where they had to watch the footage. All three of them are facing charges related to Foolio's killing. Right now, the police are still trying to piece together exactly what happened and who did what, but with what's been revealed recently, we know they're getting a lot closer to the truth. Again, footage of Foolio at the club was played in court, and here you can see footage of him at Truth nightclub, which was where the after party was. In the footage played in court, you see CCTV video of him recording outside the club on his phone, and then it switches to the video that he himself posted to his Instagram. Video evidence is playing a huge role in this case and is a main tool the prosecutors are using against the suspects. New surveillance footage was also shown from outside Truth nightclub that showed two vehicles tailing Foolio. The vehicles were also outside Teasers and were seen to be near the hotel where he was shot. The infamous hotel parking lot footage, which showed Foolio's murder in vivid detail, was also shown in the hearing. However, despite the overwhelming evidence, Sean Gathright's attorney pushed back. Here's her defense.
Once again, there is no actual video or identifiable footage that shows that Mr. Gathright was physically present at Home 2 Suites. Is that correct?
Correct. To counteract that, the state presented a picture that was found on Sean Gathright's cell phone. You may have seen it before. It was the picture of the bottle of Don Julio that everyone thinks was his. Way of insulting Foolio. The prosecutors presented this narrative to the judge. And although we all know that it was almost definitely an insult to Foolio, Sean Gathright's attorney said there was no way that proves it. Here's what she said to the judge about it.
Were you able to ascertain if my client, Mr. Gathright, was the one that actually purchased Don Julio?
No.
So anybody could have been at that club and purchased it?
Yes, of course.
The investigation is still ongoing, but the judge ordered that those three suspects will remain in custody without bond until the trial is over. That was back in early August, but since then we've had even more updates on the case. They appeared in court again on Monday the 26th of August for an arraignment hearing, and we also found out that the fourth suspect, Rashad Murphy, will have his arraignment hearing separately as he's currently incarcerated in another county and needs to be transferred. At this arraignment hearing, the three suspects all plead not guilty, and we also received confirmation that the fifth suspect, Davion Murphy, is still free, and the police haven't been able to catch him yet. A crime and safety expert named Ken Jefferson, who works for First Coast News in Jacksonville, was asked to shed some light on whether he thought the police could use the suspects to find Davion Murphy. He had a few things to say about that. Sometimes they'll cooperate, but you know, gang members are tough cookies. You know they'll do some time and come out and take it as a badge of honor. He also said that agencies across Florida have their eyes out for Davion, and without a gang, he's nothing. He's just an individual, and he's on the run, so he is scared, Jefferson said. He's scared because he knows that everybody in the world basically is looking for him. They know what he looks like, so he has to lay low. Although Davion is still free on September 4th, the fourth suspect, Rashad Murphy, had his arraignment hearing. The judge was again shown all the surveillance footage, and the conclusion he came to was that there is enough evidence that Rashad committed the crimes, so he'll be held without bond until the trial is concluded. Here's some footage from Rashad's court hearing.
Good afternoon. For the defense, please.
Donna Perry on behalf of the Public Defender's Office.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. All right, Mr. Murphy, you are charged with 1 count of premeditated murder in the first degree with the discharge of a firearm, 1 count of murder in the first degree premeditated, and 3 counts of attempted murder in the first degree.
Since then, we know his bail was denied, and he now awaits trial with the other 3 suspects. People on the internet had a few things to say about the recent trials, particularly about Rashad Murphy's use of a public defender. One guy wrote, "Public defendant for this case? You are done, sir." And another said, "Public defender for a murder, they getting cooked." So we've seen some updates on the suspects' court cases, but who exactly are they? And why did they shoot Foolio? Well, first, let's take things back to when they were first arrested. Who are the suspects? On Monday the 29th of July, body cam footage was shared by Jacksonville Sheriff's Office that shows them detaining 3 of Foolio's murder suspects in Jacksonville, Florida. The video shows Sean Gathright, Alicia Andrews, and Isaiah Chance all being taken into custody in pouring rain. The footage itself was posted to the official Jacksonville Police Twitter page with a caption that had a lot to say about the case. Your Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and Tampa Police are announcing the arrests of 3 people in the murder of Charles Andrew Jones, known as Foolio Foolio. Jones was shot and killed in the parking lot of a Tampa hotel on June 23, 2024. Saturday afternoon, JSO SWAT, CPR, and gang unit members located and arrested Sean Gathright, 18, Alicia Andrews, 21, and Isaiah Chance Jr., 21. They are currently in the Duval County Pretrial Detention Center on murder charges, pending transfer to Tampa. Detectives continue to thoroughly investigate the case. They end the post with a quote from the sheriff, which shows they're not playing around. There's no place you'll be able to hide if you commit crime in Jacksonville or any other city in the state of Florida. Take a look at the body cam footage they posted. First up, we've got Sean Gathright, caught literally with his pants down.
Driver! Open the car door! Let me see your hands! Step on out! Step on out! Look away! Back up to the sound of my voice! Yep. Stop right there. Lift your shirt up. Turn to a 360. What? Just listen to us. We'll talk about it. Keep going. Keep going. Turn. Now walk back to the sound of my voice. Come on. Keep coming. 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 Walk back to me.
Next up, we have Isaiah Chance.
Put your hands in the air. Hands up.
Hands in the air. Hands in the air.
All right. Slowly walk toward me. Let's go. Right here. Right here. Walk right here. Let's go. Yeah.
Walk this way. Listen to the instructions.
Yep. Hey, keep your hands up and walk out towards me. Hey, over here. Come this way. Over here. You're going to get hit with the less lethal. Get your hands up and walk towards me. Hands up. Don't reach for your waist. Do not reach for your waist. Look at me. Back up. Back up. Back up. Back up. Back up. All right, go to your knees. Put your hands behind your back. Stay there. Stay there. Don't move. Isaiah? Isaiah? Stand up. Isaiah Chance, right?
And finally, Alicia Andrews, who was in the same place as Isaiah, which makes sense since the two are thought to be in a relationship.
Keep walking, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. Keep walking. Now turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
It sure is an ominous scene with all that rain and thunder and lightning. The police make the two sit outside in the storm for a while before taking them to jail. Here is footage of the fourth suspect, Rashad, being arrested too, and in the footage he appears to be crying.
He's compliant. Crawl towards me. Bro, come on. Keep crawling. Keep crawling.
So from what we know so far about the suspects, Sean Gathright was only 18 years old, and Isaiah Chance, as well as Alicia Andrews, are both 21. Rashad and Davian Murphy are older, with Rashad being 30 and Davian being 27. As of now, police believe Gathright, Rashad, and Davian are the shooters, and they believe they all belong to two gangs, the ATKs and the 1200s, who are known rivals to Foolio's gang, 6 Block. As the weeks go on, more and more details about how they planned the assassination are being revealed, and it was many stupid mistakes that got them caught. Alicia Andrews was said to have gone on Instagram to book an Airbnb, but unfortunately for her, nobody did it, so they got one in Murphy's name and paid for it with Isaiah Chance's Cash App. It'll be interesting to know that Chance is a rapper too, and goes by the name Gudaze. Anyway, they finally get to Tampa, where they're seen on the camera of the Airbnb Foolio staying in. They then allegedly took an Uber all the way back to Sean's house in Jacksonville, where he and Gutta were spotted loading his car with what looked like guns. That video was from Sean Gathright's home camera, and it certainly family looked like they were going on a trip. You might notice that he looked a bit different. That's because right after the murder, he got a haircut. It's also said that Rashad was seen on a Walmart camera wearing the same clothes as one of the suspects. It's known for sure that they stalked Foolio to 3 different locations: his Airbnb, the nightclub, and then the hotel where they carried out the shooting. For now, we don't know exactly how they got the location, and people think that someone who was partying with Foolio leaked it. It's also believed that Alicia and Isaiah Chance, aka Gutta, were the lookouts and drove past Foolio while he was at the hotel. We don't know this for sure, but people think Rashad shot first with a Glock while the others used assault rifles. After the killing, Rashad Murphy allegedly sent a text saying, "I'm coming home, my thirst is quenched. Pop a bottle of Don Julio today." As you can see, the gang left a lot of trails, and it's no surprise they were caught so easily. A lot of people wonder about what Alicia Andrews' exact role in the killing was, and at first many thought that she was actually partying with Foolio and leaked the location, but now we know that probably wasn't the case. People say her job was to scout the place out. She admitted to being at the scene of the crime, but claims she was just lost. She can also be seen on surveillance camera at each of the clubs that Foolio was at that night, and there's reports that she was caught lying to the prosecutors multiple times. Their sloppiness doesn't end there, though. There are multiple reports that Sean Gathright used his mom's car during the murder. It's no surprise people are calling these guys the dumbest assassins ever. Here you see Alicia appearing to wave goodbye to her boyfriend Isaiah after their hearing. It was probably a good idea because these guys are facing life sentences, and the chance she ever sees him again is very slim. Now we've established most of how they planned the attack, as well as how they were caught, but what's not fully clear yet is their motive. The ongoing gang feud. Foolio was a big name in the Jacksonville rap scene, and his gang rivalry that often spilled over into his music is well documented. Many of Foolio's songs, as well as his main rival Youngeen Ace, include some very violent lyrics with many mentions of murders and killings that took place between the two sides. The main beef was between Foolio's gang, 6 Block, and Youngeen Ace's group, ATK, and is thought to have been ongoing for over a decade now. The two rap stars, Foolio and Youngeen Ace, were the dominant names in the Jacksonville rap scene, and although they would grow to hate each other, the two used to hang around the same area and have many mutual friends. Foolio himself even said that he and Youngeen Ace was always neutral.
Like, man, him was always neutral. Like, it wasn't no you, and it wasn't like we cool, like we was mutual.
However, things took a deadly turn in 2017 when Foolio's cousin Zion Brown was shot and killed. Foolio's gang retaliated and shot Youngeen Ace. Ace was in a car when the shooting took place, and although they hit him 8 times, he survived. But his younger brother and 2 friends died in the shooting. To make things worse, Foolio posted pictures online of him wearing a t-shirt with Ace's dead brother's face on it, which read "Rest in Peace." That's when things got really bad. Former friends were forced to pick a side, and what followed was a series of killings, as well as diss tracks released that would constantly mock each other's dead friends and family. Things only went downhill from there. In February of 2019, Julio Foolio's little brother, a rapper known as Bibby, was shot and killed outside his apartment. Julio Foolio and his girlfriend were both injured in separate shootings later that year. Another up-and-coming rapper called Xu, who was a member of KTA, took things even further and put his dead enemies' faces on his album cover and even named it Bibby Out. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office later arrested Sue in March in connection with killing Bibby. On March 28, 2021, Youngeen Ace dropped the music video, Who I Smoke, which was a hit. However, many of the song's lyrics speak about Foolio's dead friends and acquaintances. Here's an example. "When I see you, I'ma push your back, boy. Chopper get to splitting through your set. We don't fight, boy. 12 paramedics couldn't save your life, boy. Rod K dead and he never coming back, boy." In the video, you see them point to the sky for the song's hook, which goes, "Who I Smoke. Bibby, who I smoke. Techie, who I smoke. Lil 9. And now I wonder." That was bad, but Foolio's always known to take things to the next level. Here you can see him holding up a poster of Ace's brother and 2 dead friends who were shot.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's the best happy birthday, best poster ever.
That was posted to his Instagram story and was during the video shoot for his response to Who I Smoke, which was called When I See You, and shows him dancing around a graveyard celebrating the 3 murders. Despite it looking like this beef would never end, Foolio actually spoke about him wanting to squash the beef with Youngeen Ace. When talking to DJ Vlad, Foolio is asked about when and if the beef could ever end. This was his reply.
It probably happen sooner than later. You never know what God got planned, you know?
That interview was from just after the When I See You video dropped back in 2021, and as we know, it never did get squashed, but we know Foolio was at least thinking about it. His thoughts didn't amount to much as diss tracks continued to be released, and even on the day of Foolio's death, Youngeen Ace dropped a track. Shortly after, he dropped another video too for his song called Game Over, which shows him walking around with a bottle of Don Julio and talking about going to war. Both of the tracks received millions of views pretty much straight away, but despite his obvious references to Foolio, Youngeen Ace claims he's sad about the whole thing. That's right, he even says that he and Foolio Foolio were on good terms before he was killed. On an Instagram live after Foolio's death, Youngin Ace said this: "That said, I ain't gonna lie, bruh. Leave the streets alone, play. I don't condone like that." It's hard to believe he doesn't condone things like that when pretty much all of his songs are about murder, but maybe he's changed, or he's just pretending as he's still under heavy investigation from the police.
So Youngin Ace has long been known in Jacksonville. We are consistently monitoring those groups. We have people that are always watching them.
Right now, Youngin Ace isn't a suspect in the case, but the police are monitoring his moves closely. Although many think he's involved, the police don't yet have any direct evidence, and the overwhelming CCTV evidence points to the 5 named suspects. The events surrounding Foolio's death, as well as CCTV footage from the clubs Foolio was at and other instances that have tied this group to the murder. One of the most incriminating and disturbing footage is actually of the murder itself. Just after his death on the 23rd of June, this shocking footage was released, which showed Foolio having almost no time to react when he was ambushed by the gunmen in the hotel parking lot just 2 days after his birthday. As we know, the shooting took place amid his birthday celebrations that had been ongoing for multiple days at that point. The hotel he was staying at was in Tampa, and he was in that area celebrating with his friends. We know so much about it because he was constantly posting about it online and documenting his celebrations as he went from place to place. After his performances in the 2 clubs, he hit an Airbnb, but he and his entourage were forced to leave due to complaints that they were partying too hard. From the footage of the shooting, we learned that it took place in the very early hours of the morning, just before 5 a.m., and we see the killers armed with semi-automatic rifles running through the car park before unloading into Foolio's car, which swerves away, but then crashes into a curb. In the end, the shooter was able to get to point-blank range and killed Foolio there and then. The state of the car afterwards shows he didn't stand a chance. The reason he was even in that car park was because the cops showed up and closed down the Airbnb he was partying at, which led to him and his group being forced into booking a hotel. Although you'd think that Foolio would take better precautions since so many people wanted him dead, you've got to remember that Tampa is around 4 hours from his hometown of Jacksonville, so he probably thought there was no way his enemies would take a trip that far to get him. Obviously he was wrong, but a big question still remains. How did his killers know exactly where he was? Well, like we've spoken about before, he was constantly posting about his movements online. Everyone knew he was in Tampa, but people didn't know exactly where the location was since he was smart enough to not post that. We know that from one of his stories where you see him asking people to DM him for the address, which means that although he was flamboyant about his actions, it was still an invitation-only event.
6 o'clock. If you already got the address, pull up, man. You got the address, pull up. If you need the address, DM me right now. The pool party start at 5, 6 o'clock. DM me for the address or DM Foolio booking ESPN. I'm gonna put it right here.
So that explains how they knew he was in Tampa, and from the court documents which showcase mobile phone tracking info, we know the suspects were there too. From the court documents and CCTV footage, we know that they were in town and tracking him down. But what we still need to answer is, how did they know his exact location? Did they track him from the Airbnb? Did they just guess his hotel, or did somebody close to Foolio leak the information? With so many people at the party, it's certainly possible. And at first, many people thought the female suspect, Alicia Andrews, was attending and leaked it from inside, but we now know that's not true. However, there have been some theories that this guy may actually be the culprit. There you see a pretty drunk Foolio hanging out with one of his friends, a guy named Mizzle. However, here you can see the same guy hanging out with known ATK members, the people behind his murder. This has led many to think that he's a traitor and could possibly have set Foolio up, as there's no way he could be friends with both Foolio and ATK members. On a Reddit discussion about his involvement, some have tried to defend Mizzle. One guy wrote, they said he just a that get money and with both sides, while others are sure he's a traitor. Another guy wrote, Mizzle obviously did backdoor Foolio. It's just everyone in denial. They friendship had no structure to the point. It got dude bob. He literally sitting next to 2K. 2K is the ATK affiliated guy that Mizzle is next to. Either way, we don't know for sure yet if he was backdoored or not. But since this is a case that has had so much leaked footage surrounding it, and now that details are getting clearer and clearer, Foolio's fans and family are starting to get closure. Footage of almost every part of the events around his death have been seen, and now even clips from his funeral are going around. The aftermath of Foolio's death. On July 6th, it was reported that Foolio's family held a private funeral for him. Pictures from the ceremony appear to show his body being carried in a horse and cart, as well as his close friends and family honoring his legacy. A video was actually leaked of the casket itself and even shows parts of his body. Here you see what appears to be his corpse in a coffin wearing black Air Force Ones. We also see his family and friends at the funeral rapping the lyrics to one of his songs about Youngin Ace, showing that the beef is still very much alive. It's interesting that the lyrics are about Youngin Ace going out on his birthday and getting shot. You could call it dark irony. Although many will miss Foolio, his mother was hit the hardest by the tragic death of her son and has had a few things to say about the whole thing. She's spoken about how it was drill music that caused his death, and that although people have called her out for being a bad mother, she tried her best to stop him from going down that road and was even shot 8 times because of it. She writes, "The story that only I can tell because I know the truths from the fakes. I think I'm the only mother that keep it real while most others know damn well what was going on with their own sons. This been going on since 2014 to 2015. She continued, "Some of these same women celebrating your death is some of the same. Women looked up to me. Sitting in my building, I was their teacher, and they were my students at a big grown age taking notes. Not let's forget that. The same women that was buying your CDs for their kids. Let's not forget that. These same women's sons did the same thing you did, went tit for tat on this drill music, in which I never condone." In the statement, she also states that she will soon release a documentary that will clear up all the lies and reveal the truth about the real Foolio. She even tags Young Thug and thanks everybody who believed in her son. She even did an interview not long after his death and reveals more key details about his life and the events that lead to his fatal killing. She speaks about how she's carrying on releasing and managing his music, and you hear her mention that she's happy that arrests have been made, but that she's still waiting for more.
Of course, the arrest, I'm relieved about that, and I'll be more relieved and happy when they pick others up.
By others, she's likely referring to Youngin Ace and the other suspect who still hasn't been caught. She also goes into detail about the time she was shot due to the beef.
I got hit up on my left, my whole left side of my body, but all the bullets like landed to my right side. And I suffered I got bullet fragments on my spine. The bullets are still in me to this day.
Some more important information she reveals from the interview is that she knows Youngin Ace and many of Foolio's enemies' family, and that they used to all be friends. It's certainly a sad situation, especially when she did so much for Foolio's music career and tried her best to keep him away from the violence. In the comments section of the video, you see people who allegedly know her speaking very kindly about her. Foolio's mom was a nurse and well respected in her community. In the comments, one guy's wrote, "Miss Sandrikas was my CNA instructor back in 2015 or so when her business was on Lem Turner. She introduced herself to the class and said, 'I have a daughter and a hard-headed son, Lowell. She was always sweet and helped so many people in Jax upgrade their life for real. I know both sides and have never sided. Our black kings deserve to live long. We gotta do better.'" As of now, we haven't heard from any retaliation from Foolio's people, even though Youngin Ace and his gang are constantly making diss tracks about his death. And Ace has even recently mentioned his mom getting shot in his new song Triller. Crime analysts seem to think it's only a matter of time before we see more bloodshed between the two gangs. And although the police said they'll do their best to stop any more violence, they're definitely preparing for it. As the trial goes on, we'll be sure to keep updating you about the case. For now, click on any of the cards on screen to see more rap stories.